We have just received, almost as an unexpected update, some new information. Exclusive. The all-new MS-03 from Minisforum. Actually, there is one. You said we waited a very long time for it. It was the MS-02 Ultra. I'm going to be frank with you. I had absolutely no idea that this MS-03 was going to be released. We received a box. We opened the box. Bam, the MS-03 inside. Well, there you go. We contacted them. They told us, yes, we sent you this little model exclusively. And you are going to, if you wish, make a review video on this product. It is with great pleasure that we will make this video for you. We are going to try to discover it together. Because quite honestly, I only have a small sheet that was sent to me by Minisforum to tell me what that was inside. But there is actually quite a lot inside. So you'll see that it was worth. You can use it to make the number 3 of the MS. Come on, I'll tell you more right after the jingle. So I had to manage to find out a little bit on my own. And then I had to manage to see a little bit what was inside the box even before opening it. And well, inside this box, there are still quite a few little new things. It's not a huge revolution. I don't want to tell you nonsense. Without further ado, we are going to open this little plastic wrap together. I'm not saying that I've already done it. Even though now we've had it for a little week, you will notice that it is not open. So I really waited to make this video with you to be able to see inside, really inside, what was in there, because you know that with Minisforum there is a lot to say about what is inside. So let's open it and I'll start detailing for you a little bit of what we have inside. I'll take the cardboard off, there you go, and we're going to discover the MS-03 on top. For now it's exactly the same experience as with the MS-01. We have the same bag, we have the same box, but it's what's inside that changes a bit though. So I'll show it to you quickly like this. So here you have the front, here you have the back, and I'll detail this for you on the camera. That's just to my left. Let's continue exploring what's in the box to see if we have any little new features here. We still have the HDMI cable that is included, the power cable. So why? Because it's a power supply that is external, like in the MS-01, the MS-02 Ultra. We had a power supply that was internal. Here it's an external power supply. Why? Because you've seen the size. The size is too small to fit a power supply like this one inside. Except that, yes, I have the impression that the power supply has increased a bit in terms of possible performance. Because here we are at 240 watts. But behind that, these are performances that we can expect from the MS-03. They went a bit heavier here. Now maybe we also have a processor that consumes a bit more. And then overall, we have an interior with a few more cards, some slightly more modern cards, which means we might have a slightly higher power consumption. Well, I suggest we go right ahead and open it up like this. There isn't too much suspense. So here they sent us a version with 32 GB of memory and 1 terabyte of disk space. So there will undoubtedly be several variations. At the time I'm filming this video, there is no web page dedicated to the MS-03. I don't know the price at all. At the time I'm filming this video, we might put it for you here, if we have it in the meantime. But there will be a bare-bone version, and there will be versions with 20 GB and X to be of integrated disks. Here, it's a version 32 GB and 1 TB, so that already makes for a pretty good machine. And well, just like the previous one, the MS-01, we have the memory that goes right underneath, and we have a large, powerful fan that comes into play to help cool the memory sticks, which is essential for maintaining system stability. So here, I have one memory stick. I imagine you can see it here. There is a second one that can be placed right underneath. Right here, we have a slot that is in CX. So you see me again here with the right screwdriver. And we are going to take a little look underneath to see what's there. Well, I have a vague idea because you can imagine that on the little spec sheet, there were still 2 or 3 pieces of info. So, well, I know more or less what we have underneath. But here, I'm still going to show it to you anyway. While the memory slots aren't super interesting, this, however, might be interesting. So what do we see underneath? We see 2 things that are very interesting. Well, at least for us. And I imagine for you, if you were interested in the same type of usage, you know that the MS-01 as well as the MS-02 And now the MS-03s, we use them in data centers that we run with Proxmox. It turns out that you have seen us a certain number of times install or configure data centers under Proxmox with these machines. There are disks in the 22110 format, and you see right here 2 small screws that allow us to have much larger NVMe drives because we can mount up to 22,110 disks in the MS-03. And that is awesome because it means that we will be able to mount NVMe disks of enterprise grade with precisely a dimension of 22,110. But that's not all. Here, you will be able to remove this disk and add a card that was present with the MS-01. A card that is present, but that I didn't show you. I'm going to show it to you right away. It's in this bag. You have a card, a sort of card adapter or a daughter board that will allow us to mount a disk. It consists of the U2 type located inside, which is quite a specific configuration. We're right here. We place the disk here, and we are going to remove the NVMe disk that is here. We are going to plug all that in. We have a small connection cable to put between here and here. The small cable must be provided inside. Here it is. And this small cable is therefore useful for the recognition of the U.2 disk. You will be able to mount all of this here, which gives us 2 22,110 type disks, one U.2 type disk. So for us, in our use of data center that runs with storage, distributed called Ceph, this will ensure us the possibility of putting 3 OSDs, let's say with good performance, and especially of the type or in the range of NVMe SSD disks, enterprise, so with great longevity, and also a throughput that is also very high performance. And then finally, depending on how you should go ahead and use the specific slot that is located right here, just like that. So in a PCIe 5.0 slot. So once again, we'll have to see how to wire this PCIe slot. But in any case here, we will have the possibility to put a system disk, in our case probably 1 or 2. It will depend on whether the motherboard supports bifurcation or if it will need us to adapt that with a card managing the bifurcation on board. The PCIe card that we would insert here. Well, the previous generation of MS-01, it seems to me that it supports bifurcation, but it doesn't support it in a very flexible way. So we couldn't do just anything with it. So that meant often just a single NVMe drive on a card that we would insert into the PCIe 5 slot, which might have been Gen 4, by the way, at the time, and not Gen 5. Right here, we also see something else. A Wi-Fi card that is Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, so we can't do any better today. Bluetooth 6 and Wi-Fi 7 is really quite impressive. So there you have it. There's been even a major refresh, we could say, in terms of a wireless connectivity. Now let's move on to wired connectivity. It's a continuation with, however, a more powerful processor, a wireless connectivity that's also more powerful. I won't hide from you that I was expecting a little bit more that I will mention when I really show you the connectivity section. Before getting into the connectivity section, I'm going to give you the main specifications we have in the MS-03. So first, I gave them to you just now. It's Intel Series 3. We have here a Core Ultra 9386H. So it's the kind of thing that really packs a punch a little bit, but we will also have a version of the MS-03 with a Core Ultra 7 356H. And when we consider the performance that will follow, it really depends on the specific type of processor you choose for your system. To get back to the main point, we need to look at how these choices impact your overall workflow and efficiency. Core Ultra 9 that is in the machine, know that it's 16 cores. We only had 14 cores in the MS-01, so we've already gained two additional cores. In terms of performance, let's say frequency, the Core Ultra 9 Series 3 might seem a little less powerful at first glance, but you really cannot compare it just like that. Frequency numbers today are not the whole story, because modern processor architecture and power efficiency play a much bigger role in actual performance than just raw clock speeds alone. Don't indicate the processor's performance, so what it will be able to generate in terms of computing. But there you go, I'm telling you anyway. The Ultra 9 here, so in 386H, it's a 4.9 GHz. The one we had before in the MS-01 was a 5.4 gigahertz. So we have a newer platform, very clearly here with the Intel Series 3. But in terms of performance, let's say frequency, we are a little worse off. That being said, if the cooling keeps up with this Ultra 9 386H, we can also expect to have better efficiency. They were very good anyway, already with the MS-01. So the MS-03, there is a very, very good chance that in terms of cooling will be the same. Honestly, we had zero issues. And I can't tell you any better. So the cooling on the MS-01 and the MS-03 will necessarily be very good. I would imagine so. However, here with the new processors that integrate an NPU, we have a certain number of TOPS. TOPS, that means trillions of operations per second that the neural processor, the NPU, can perform. Here, the performance goes up to 50 TOPS, which essentially means that all of the Windows Copilot features will be able to run much more smoothly and efficiently on your device. Please go ahead and utilize this specific processor and then proceed to activate the system. AI features of Windows Copilot. Well, that being said, for us, it will never see Windows in its life, so it won't be of much use to him in that regard, but it could be a start if you want to do AI in edge mode. After that, I'm not going to tell you any stories. You will need a graphics card, whether it's internal or external. You know that the MS-01 can offer. We should make a video for you one day because we have this hardware here with us, but the MS-01 offers you a sort of support, a station that allows you to plug in an external graphics card, and you can thus rely on it to really do AI in edge mode. It will be more efficient than the 50 TOPS that are integrated in there, but it's still a good, you'll be able to have Windows Studio, Windows effects, etc. In terms of memory, here, same thing. We have memory that is more powerful. With the MS-01 generation, we went up to 5 billion, 200 million operations or transmissions per second. Here, it's 7,200. So it's still DDR5. But there you go. We're going from 5,200 to 7,200. So we still have a higher performance. And what's good here, also for data centers, what's also good if you use it as a mini workstation. It can serve as a mini workstation for doing video editing, 3D, animations, etc. So it's obviously better to have higher performance memory. Now, given the price of memory, well, it's also going to cost you a bit more at that level. Regarding the amount of memory possible inside, I'm going to be more cautious because quite honestly, Minisforum didn't specify the memory size to me. You see, they just said, well, there are 2 DDR5 slots. So here, I'm relying a little bit on the 3 series processor. We can normally go up to 128 GB of memory. That's a normally, so we'll have to see the test of the spec sheets that will be released. We have 32 GB here, so I can tell you that they are likely well managed, meaning that we were able to upgrade the MS-01 with a very specific reference of Kingston memory. If my memory serves me right here too, up to 96. However, the manufacturer said, we go up to 64 and it's supported. You see what's happening. We have MS-01s running in our data center with at 96, there's no problem at all. So we could go for it. Here, normally we could go up to 128. Before showing it to you, the connectivity on this camera, there's still one thing. It's true that I German thingy now like this, because from opening and closing them so much, we don't pay attention anymore. But still, I remind you, you didn't see me use any tools to open the MS-03. It's just like that slide, click, it's closed, it's in there, it doesn't move. Well, I'm careful all the same, but it doesn't move. So you see, it's still also the super interesting side of the MS-03. The successor to the MS-01 is that they kept this toolless system where you just press. Here you press and it opens. You see, so it's still the super practical side of this type of case. Well, I don't know of any other cases as practical to open. If you have any, tell me in the comments if you know of any. Honestly, for cases this simple to open, I don't know of any. So I'm talking to you about the connectivity part, but be careful. Keep in mind that for now, I'm relying on the little spec sheet you see that I received from Minisforum, which is very light. And maybe we'll have some additional surprises regarding the speed and performance of the different ports. For now, I'm giving you what I am able to give you. So I'm going to start with the one you might use, which is the power button. Well, great connectivity, which allows you to turn this MS-03 on or off. So that being said, why am I telling you about it? Is that on the MS-02 Ultra, we also have a button on the back, an on-off switch, which completely disables, let's say, the system. There isn't one, so it's really just this button that allows you to turn on the MS-03. So right here, the combo jack that allows you to plug in an external headset and microphone, For us, it's the same. I think it will never see one in its life. But if you use it as a mini workstation, well, you'll be able to plug in a headset and do your video conferences. So 3 USB Type-A ports on the front. We have 2 that are USB 2.0 ports. So low speed. You have, however, right there, a USB output, a little bit more serious, because it's a USB 3.2 Gen 2. So already we have good performance. We find the 20 gig of performance that we can expect from a classic USB 2 port. And so now, well, I suggest we move to the back. There's a little thing that I would have liked to see evolve a bit. Actually, there are even 2 to be very precise. There are 2. Here you have the power port. That's where you're going to plug in the external power supply. Here we have 2 ports that are USB 3.2 Gen 2. So once again, 20 gigabits per second. Everything is fine. There are 2 on the front. There are 2 on the back. That gives you plenty of USB ports, which really saves you from having a port replicator. You see, as soon as you have your PC at home and you need to buy a port replicator, here it honestly won't be because you have 3 on the front after all, and you have 2 on the back, and that's not all, because now we're going to move on to the HDMI port that's right there. So there might be a typo on the spec sheet that Minisforum gave me. I'm going to tell it to you my way. Well, it might be contradicted by a banner right there. It's an HDMI port that is therefore 2.1, which for me must mean that we can go up to 8000K. Well, in another part of the spec sheet, they tell me it's up to 4K. Well, we'll see. Next, we move on to the other 2 USB Type-C ports that are next to it. And here begins the first thing that I would have liked to see upgraded a bit, because the MS-01 was already the same. With the MS-03, I had hoped that we would have inherited that compared to the second. But then again, what do you expect? The MS-02 Ultra has to keep some specific features that aren't included in the first or the third, because otherwise, why would the 02 be called the Ultra? Well, there you go. So in any case, I'm going to tell you, it would have been really great if in the 03, they had integrated ports that were Thunderbolt. Here, these are USB 4 ports. So it's USB 4 at 40 gigabits per second. They are DisplayPort 2.1 alt mode. So you'll be able to connect external monitors to it. So that gives you up to 3 screens with the HDMI. Admittedly, it's not bad. But personally, I would have liked to have a little Thunderbolt, even version 4. That would have been enough, you see. Well, if it were version 5, we'd have 80 Gbit S. But here, that's not possible. It's 40 gigabits per second. So we could have had Thunderbolt 4. And we could have daisy-chained MS-03s like that, like we did with the MS-02 Ultra you saw in that famous one I was telling you about earlier. Well, here, that won't be possible because they aren't Thunderbolt. So they don't allow for creating a network on these USB Type-C ports. Then again, once more, they had to keep some specific features for the MS-02 Ultra. Well then, the second thing that, let's say, a little bit bothered, these are the 2 SFP ports here, SFP plus ports. So these are the same SFPs as in the MS-01, meaning 10 gigabits per second. Here, it's the same, the MS-02 Ultra. Once again, I'm not going to repeat it to you 46 times. Admittedly, this one is Ultra. These are SFP28s. So we can go up to 25 Gbit S. Well, here, these are still SFP pluses, so it will be a maximum of 10 gigabits per second. Well, there you go. Regarding the positioning taken, regarding the form factors, etc., this type of connectivity also heats up. So it would have probably needed a thicker case as well, which is why the 02 Ultra is thicker. We're going to move on to the 2 ports that are here. These are also the same ones we had on the first. So these are 2.5 Gbps Ethernet ports this time. So you plug in a network cable, category 8, for example, into that, and the others, it will potentially be fiber optic. That's what we put into the GBE modules, where we put fiber optic modules. Well, there you go, the little caveats I've given you. Otherwise, well, it remains a really great machine. You can trust Minisforum to position itself in terms of price with a very aggressive pricing strategy, and above all, with potentially already memory integrated inside, at a better price because they have negotiated that in volume. In any case, you will end up with a great machine, with a major upgrade in terms of processor and memory, and all that in a format that is just every time very impressive. It's crazy that they always manage to integrate this kind of thing. I tried to make the presentation as neutral as possible. I remind you that at Carpe, we are official Minisforum resellers. To my knowledge, we are the only ones in France. You can buy, of course, on the shop, which is a shop domiciled in France at Minisforum, but I encourage you to go through Carpe Diem IT. So why? Because first of all, it will be us, your point of contact. I'm not saying they aren't good. I'm just telling you that it's more convenient for you. You have a phone number, we're French. You call us, we can handle the after-sales service. We can handle the preparations, we can handle the shipments. In short, you see, it's still, all in all, more convenient to go through Carpe Diem IT. The price will be the same, whether it's on the Minisforum online shop or by going through us. It will be the same price. So no change for you, except for the value that it can represent. Having a contact person in France who speaks French to you, who understands you, someone local. If you go through Carpe Diem, we will handle the preparations for you for your future data center. We have already done a few presentations here of training centers that went through Carpe Diem, specifically to prepare their data center. We also showed you some very small data centers with 2 MS-02 Ultras. So in short, we know how to adapt to both your budget and your needs in order to offer you the best solution that will therefore fit into 2 slots for you. Tell me in the comments if there are things that interested you in this new generation, the MS-03. Tell me if you too, there are things that you would have seen evolve or that you want to see evolve, or if, on the contrary, you found it very balanced as a machine. It's mainly its price that will allow us to say that. So don't hesitate to leave as many comments as possible. Don't hesitate to leave as many likes as possible. You can share, you can also subscribe. We are a little over 126,000. Thank you so much. Please keep subscribing to our channel and help us grow. It's super nice to support us like this. And I'll see you very soon for a next video.